Hi, welcome back. I hope you had a nice week and you're ready for another video. I continue my series about COVID-19, or to better put it, about life with the restrictions imposed due to this global pandemic. It's been hard on everyone. No one can get out of home. We all have to stay home. We can't have social gatherings. We can't go out to the beach or to the park or anything. We can't visit family. We can't visit friends. And that is obviously something that is very hard on everyone. Oh well, I talk for myself. It's something that is truly hard on me. Because obviously we are social people. We are a social species, and we really do need that socializing. And this is basically cutting us off from everyone. It doesn't have to be that way. There's always ways of trying to mitigate this, but even those, it's still hard. Because I've been living with working from home basically all my professional career as a translator, um, I think if I could share my ideas and if I could share my personal experience on this, I could help you all or give you just ideas. Obviously, this is just my personal opinion. It does work for me. This is what I've been doing, but that doesn't mean that it would work for you. That doesn't mean that it would work for everybody. However, you could just take bits and pieces from what I've said and just make it your own. Just change it and get your own ideas. And I'll be extremely happy if I knew that because of something that I've said or one of these videos, you could actually think of a plan for yourself and you make it better for yourself, and you could cope with the current situation a little bit better. I would feel very happy and very, very, very proud of myself if I could do so. As I said, it's hard for us as adults to deal with all this, with the restrictions, with being at home. But for children, it's not easier. It's even harder because it's hard for them to understand. And the younger the children are, the worse it gets, of course. So this is another aspect of our life. Now we have to not only work from home, but we have to work from home with our kids. So it's two things that sometimes looks like they don't mix or they can't mix, and we have to make it work, and we have to mix it and make it work. Very hard, I know that, but it's doable. Some days you're gonna get to the end of the day and you're gonna be absolutely exhausted and you think, I cannot do this anymore. But then the next day comes and you think of another plan and you manage to go every day and you manage to get there. We all in this together. We're gonna get through this. And I think if we all get a little bit of an input from other parents and from other people that are actually navigating through the same waters that we are, because we are all navigating these waters at the moment, I think it makes it better for everyone. And I would like to help as well. So, working with children is hard. It's very hard. I've been doing that for 3.5 years. And as I said, sometimes I get to the end of the day and I think, oh, I can't do this anymore. And other days, I think, okay, I think I managed to accomplish something here, and I managed to achieve something, and I can go forward now. So it's a little bit of a give and take. It's a little bit of a try and error, and trying to analyze the situations and see what suits best your situation and what suits best your family as well. For me, over 3.5 years. My daughter has been always been at home with me. For 1.5 years, she's been in childcare. So she started when she turned 2. And she was very happy there. She made lots of friends, and that's something that now is affecting a bit her behavior, because she misses her friends. She misses all that routine that she had in the childcare, the activities, the playing outside, the contact with her friends, which basically is what what we all miss. We don't miss the playing outside, but our playing outside is basically going to work, being with our colleagues, or going to a barbecue with friends, or socializing. Basically, that's what she misses as well. She misses her socializing. She misses her play, her routine, her activities, her normal life, which basically it's what we all miss. However, we are adults, and we have systems to cope with this situation, and to analyze it and accept it in a much better way than she does, because she's only 3.5. So, having said that, here are what I have been done and my intake on this situation. So, for me, and what I think the hardest things that we face, the hardest challenges of working from home with our kids, it's first the interruptions. They constantly interrupt you to ask things, and obviously this depends on the age of the child. My child is 3.5, so obviously my experience can only go to dealing with a toddler, because that's what I'm dealing now with a preschooler. She's 3.5. Whereas parents with older children may face other challenges, and parents with younger children may have much different challenges. I will try to cover the much younger children, because I had that experience. My daughter has been with me since she was born, and she was not going to childcare. She didn't go until she turned 2, so I have that experience as well. So one of the major things of working from home with children is the interruptions. They ask questions. For example, now she's a toddler, she asks me questions. She's doing a little painting or a little exercise, trying to draw the letters or the numbers, or she's watching one of her educational programs, and they talking about the letters and the numbers and the shapes, and she asks me questions about that. And obviously that's a little bit of a disruption on my work, because she's going to ask, she's going to interrupt my work, and that's hard. Another thing is the time sharing, is sharing my working time with her time. This would be perceived as a decrease, or your productivity going down. Well, in some aspects, yes, absolutely, and it depends on what type of job you actually do. And I can imagine, for example, my husband, when he has to be in meetings and he has to be doing these online meetings, he can be really disruptive, because if she decides to come here and disrupt this meeting and start talking, it can be really hard. But at the end of the day, and this is what I think, everyone knows that in the current situation, we all are going to be affected by this disruption, because we can't basically do anything. We can't. Children are not going to school. Children are not going to childcare. We have to be home working, and the entire family has to be at home. So I think everyone is a bit understanding of all this disruption and all of these factors, because they are also experiencing them, and because everyone is experiencing them. It's not just us, it's not just you, it's not just me, it's everyone. And because it's everyone, it's generalized, and it's more acceptable because of that. But it doesn't really have to be that way, because we can try to mitigate things by creating a few strategies and a few plans that help us mitigate and plan our time and plan our activities and theirs, in order to be able to function as best as possible with the best we can. Another thing is the noise. Children are noisy. It's not possible. If they quiet, that means they're sick, and you don't want a quiet child. That's my philosophy. If she is happy, and if she's talking and doing something, I'm happy because she's all right. If she's quiet, that means something, and that something is something not good. So they're noisy. They're gonna sing, they're gonna talk, they're gonna do everything they want, and there's nothing you can do. You can't just switch them off. It's not possible. Another thing is the lack of me time. A lot of parents, and even myself, we come across to this lack of me time. It's exhausting. You get to the end of the day and you feel like you are absolutely exhausted, because it's a 24/7 cycle. It doesn't break. You don't it's not like you have those 7 hours or 5 hours or whatever that is, that they are out in the childcare, and you can do your work, or you can do, for example, for stay-at-home moms, or you can do your chores, or you can do your meditation, or you can do your reading, or you can do whatever you want to do, and you have your me time. It's impossible. They're there. It's 24/7, and that also causes a little bit of a pressure on you, and a bit of anxiety and stress, because there's no break. There's no break from that time. So what we need to do is we need to try to cope with the situation, and we need to try to find ways of, even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's 2 minutes, whatever that time is, we have to make time for our me time, so we keep our sanity and we keep ourselves positive. That's the main thing, is that we keep ourselves positive. This is temporary. We're not going to be in lockdown for the rest of our lives, heaven forbid. We are this is just a temporary situation. It's hard. It is hard. It's one of the biggest challenges probably we faced in our lives. Is this one is quite a hard one, but we can do it. It's possible. At the end of the day, we are just asked to be home. Yes, it can be challenging, but let's put it in perspective. We are home. We have all the comforts of home. We have food. We have water. We have our nice bed to sleep. We have everything we need. We don't have the social life. Yes, it's true, but we can manage for now. And when it all ends, we can have that back. And that's, if you just put that into your mind, we can have that back. We can all feel better. We will feel better, because it just gives you that perspective that it's gonna be there for you. It's not gone. It's there. It's waiting for it to be safe to do so. So this perception of lack of productivity and this exhaustion that happens with having your child 24/7 with you is something that really affects not only your mental health, but affects everything else. Uh, it may affect your productivity, it may affect your mood, it may affect everything, because it's constant, as I said. And I think the exhaustion part of it is the one that really heavies down on it. So we need to come up with solutions. We need to come up with plans. For example, one of the things that I tried since I end my maternity leave, and I have a very short period of maternity leave because I work for myself. And I must admit, I was quite concerned of losing my clients if I prolonged my maternity leave. And because I work from home and I can have my daughter with me, I thought, well, I'm gonna give it a go, and I started quite early. I only have basically 3 months of maternity leave, and then she was with me, and I was working from home, and it has been working quite well for me. Um, I I simply what I did was trying to incorporate her activities and all mine. When she was younger, of course, I had to impose a little restriction on my working hours, and I spoke to my clients, the ones that I have a contract with, that my working hours were affected actually, and I had to make breaks, a little, little breaks to feed her and things like that, because obviously she had that routine, and I had to accommodate her on my working times. So that was something. So for now at the present time, that basically is almost inexistent. So much so that I'm trying to go back to my old working hours, and it's one of the things that I've been working and that I worked with since my daughter was born and I started working, was accommodating her activities into mine, so I could actually make it work for both of us. When she was a little child, I would, for example, I managed to learn how to multitask. I think that's something that is very, very important if you have a baby. It's multitasking. I tried, and I managed to succeed. Sometimes I would be talking to her, singing lullabies to her, and still working. Obviously, it wasn't always possible. Sometimes I couldn't just do it, and then I would have to find some other thing, find another game to let her entertain herself with, while I would finish something that I could not possibly do that. Of course, I'm thinking about people that work in different industries and, for example, need to be in online meetings and things like that. Obviously, they can't be in a in an online meeting singing to their child just like I did when I was working. It's different. It's obviously different. That's why I say it doesn't work for everyone. But you can actually find other ways. For example, when you have the online meeting, you can give them little shapes depending on the age of the child, of course. You can give them little shapes so they can stack up. It's something that they love doing. My daughter, she loved it, the shapes, and stack them up, or their favorite toys and things, and they can get entertained like that. In fact, in terms of noise, I found that when she was younger, it was more manageable in terms of noise and disruption than she is now, because she would be happy to play with her toys. She would be, and if I needed to have half an hour that I really had to be concentrated on something, and it was something that I couldn't really do two things at the same, I could give her the shapes and she would play, and I would still talk to her, of course, and I would still include her in my life and include her. However, it was possible to do it. It was easier for me. That's my experience. At her current age, is more of a challenge, because obviously she's in that more exploitative age, and she comes and asks question, and she does a drawing and comes and shows it to me and things like that, and that is disruptive. It's a little bit more disruptive, but I still have to manage, and I still have to come up with ideas. And usually what I do is try to get activities that she can be doing with me. She likes to copy everything I do. Well, I cannot do much because I have to work, so I cannot make her copy me doing anything else. So what she does, she goes to work with me. It's one of the games. And she has her little notebook, and I'm doing my either internal activities or external activities, and I'm playing with her, like she does the letters or she does the numbers, and I try to help her that way. And this way she feels entertained because she thinks she's working and we are working together, something like that, and she's happy about it. So that is just one of the ways. And then of course I have to cope with the distraction of she asking me questions. I think that's something I honestly I cannot avoid, and we cannot avoid, and I think anyone would understand that. As per the noise, that's a tricky one. I usually I try to ask her if I really need a bit of silence, and especially when my husband is in meetings and things like that, we tend to ask her, "Can you please be quiet just for a little bit? Mommy is in a meeting or Daddy is in a meeting." We sing that song afterwards, and sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna paint the perfect picture because it isn't. There's no perfect picture here, and but sometimes works. And if you try to talk to them like that, I think it's your best chances. I must admit, sometimes I'm not successful at all. I have pretty challenging days, I should say, pretty challenging, especially in this pandemic after she stopped going to childcare, and I feel that she's quite frustrated that she can't go to childcare, she can't go to her swimming lessons and all those activities that she was used to. So this is what I do. Well, now my solutions is, as I said, incorporate their activities in my time with games like the ones I said. And for example, the bigger activities, just like a bit of exercise or a bit of singing, a bit of dancing, all those little more, physical activities, I try to plan them either before I start working or after I start working or in my breaks. Because like that, you could, negotiate your time, negotiate your life with the life of your child, and try to be a bit more organized and make it a little bit more accommodating of both. So this is what I do. Of course, as I said, this is for a toddler. I'm not going to talk, for example, about the reality of parents that have to homeschool, because that's not my reality. I've never had experience with that, so I don't believe I'm qualified to be talking about that because I've never experienced it. I don't know how it works. And of course, I'm not going to talk about something that I honestly don't know about. So this my video today is about working with children up to 3.5 up to 4 years old, because that's my experience. That's what I've been doing with my daughter, and basically now in this pandemic, that's what it's been happening to me. It doesn't work for everyone, and everyone, the older the child is, the more challenging may be, depending on the age of the child. So in conclusion, it's always going to be a bit disruption. There's always going to be disruptive. There's no other way around it, and I think everyone knows about it. Your bosses know about it. Everyone knows about it, because they are living in the same planet. They are living in the same situation. We are all living this. So it's expected. I believe this is what I think. I think this is expected, that we all gonna be affected, because if we have kids, honestly, that's what it's gonna be. So try not to go too hard on yourself, because there's nothing else you can do about it. You just, this is what I tell myself every day. You do your best, and you always do your best with the best you have. So that we can't do better than this. So get into your mind that this is always going to be a bit disruptive, is never going to be the same way as it was in the office, because it's impossible, you have a child at home. But if you have discipline, once again I stress the factor of being disciplined when you work from home. It's something that I found crucial. It's something that has stuck with me since I started my career, and I think that it was one of the major factors that got me where I am, is because I'm very disciplined and I try to plan everything to the millimeter. I'm that bad. I plan everything to the millimeter, and I think if you plan it and if you are strict on your planning, you have better chances of overcoming the challenges, because you have a plan, and because you may think of a plan and a plan B. Okay, if this is not working, I may do it this way, and that is something that will help you, and that is something that will make it better for you. So this is my intake. I hope it helped. I hope you liked my video. I hope this was something that could give you ideas. Obviously, as I said, it doesn't work for everyone, but you can take some of the things that I've said here today and make it your own, change it. If you do, please share it with us, leave your comments, let me know, well, I heard your video, but I had this different idea, maybe it will work for me, and we can share, and we have more parents around the world that are actually working from home and having this massive challenge, which is working with kids, and we can all share experiences together, and maybe we create a community where we can all help each other, because I think in these very difficult times, that's the main thing what we should do, is help each other and make it better for everyone. So please subscribe. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm counting on you next week for our next video. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, please also leave your comments, and have a lovely week. Hope you like this video. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay home. Bye bye.